With over 1000 Nodachi games, I figured it's about time to do the guide. If you feel like my way is not fitting you, then feel free to experiment a bit. Most Nodachi skills provides Bloodlust stacks. Each stack grants you 3% lifesteal. If you get 5 stacks, they are consumed and you get the blood buff. It grants you 20% lifesteal, 15% damage reduction and 10% movement speed. And you can keep stacking, so with blood buff and 4 stacks you get over 30% life drain. As a medium class, Nodachi is quite squishy. However, thanks to the damage reduction from blood buff and runes, it can soak up a surprising amount of damage. So, in order to survive, you have to deal enough damage to out-heal your opponents. Keep in mind that most classes depend on some kind of burst combo. If you can survive it, all you need to do is heal up and beat them. It's worth mentioning that although Nodachi is a medium armor class, you can go with 2 pieces medium and 2 pieces light. I played with this build a bit and I found it hard to survive the burst combos I mentioned earlier. Because of that, I just stick to full medium armor. For attributes, I believe that you should aim for 2000 slashing penetration. Your base damage is high enough. The only issue you have are heavy armored opponents who stop you from lifestealing. 2000 penetration is a sweet spot where you maximize your damage against them, while still not sacrificing too much against lower armored foes. If you are wondering where this number came from, I just spent too much time in Alan's attribute calculator. I will leave a link in the description. Besides slashing penetration, I try to get as much critical value as possible. Crits means more damage, which means more healing, and they are fun. Let's talk about runes now. No, that just can change with the next seasons. I will post an update in the comments and on my Discord if that happens. On the weapon I have damage reduction and bonus damage from healing. There is just no other choice considering that I never have any issue with stacking Bloodlust. Helmet has critical value and toughness. As I mentioned earlier, I like crits and 5 toughness is just the most optimal choice for the remaining points. On the armor I have 5% damage reduction. This stacks nicely with damage reduction from blood buff and weapon. On the boots I have healing while moving. It's an amazing rune because it allows you to heal up in the middle of the fight. Other slot is 5 agility for additional slashing penetration. The gloves have bonus damage after killing 3 units and 5 strength. It's super easy to kill 3 units, so we'll make use of it very often. Alright, I will go through the skills now. I will briefly go over all of them and go into details about the ones I use. And by the way, make sure to like and subscribe if you find this video useful. Thank you. Samurai March allows you to do 2 independent strikes with medium damage. By independent I mean that you can aim the second one in a different direction. Each hit also gives you 1 Bloodlust stack. The second strike knocks down enemy units and has a high block break. I don't recommend this skill because it's just too slow and getting special effects behind second strike makes it too situational. Fearless and Steadfast, 2 quick strikes with medium damage. It grants you 1 stack of Bloodlust and Daze, Knockdown and Concussion Recovery. Because of fast animation, low cooldown and CC recovery, it's a part of my build. Bloodthirsty. I think it's a must-have for every Nodachi. It's a low damage stab with a very narrow hitbox which knocks down enemies. It gives you 2 stacks of Bloodlust and recovers you from Daze and Knockdown. Tiger Claw. 2 slow swings with high damage and hitbox. It's the most damaging basic skill of Nodachi. It grants no Bloodlust stacks, but each swing heals you for 1200 HP. It's a solid skill, especially if you focus on burst damage. I was using it myself back when Nodachi had some CC resistance. Right now it doesn't fit my playstyle. Monstrous Blade. It heals you and increases your lifesteal depending on how many Bloodlust stacks you have. It's a very strong skill which you need to out-heal high tier units and players. Avalanche. It's one of the ultimate abilities. It's a long attack combo in which every enemy hit grants you 1 stack of Bloodlust, so in practice you instantly get the max stacks. It also recovers you from knockdown and daze and heals you for 3% of maximum HP for every target hit. However, healing is capped at a few targets, so it's not as strong as it sounds. I don't recommend using this skill because damage is too low, it's super easy to interrupt and you can heal more with basic attacks if you use the monstrous blade properly. Blood Oath. It resets cooldowns of your basic skills, grants you 2 stacks of Bloodlust and gives you 20% damage buff. It's an extremely powerful skill because it allows you to chain knockdowns, get the blood buff when you want it, and massively increases your damage on top of that. Dragon Sleep, the second ultimate ability. It's a powerful swing with 2 seconds charge up. It hard CCs enemies, has huge burst and hitbox. It's a solid skill if you want to go with the burst skill set. Personally, I use Fearless and Steadfast, Bloodthirsty, Monstrous Blade and Blood Oath. It means that I have 2 skills with CC recovery whose cooldowns can be additionally reset, and I have the Monstrous Blade which provides enough lifesteal to outheal my opponents. Fearless and Steadfast is a rather straightforward skill. Just keep in mind that it's also worth using strictly as CC recovery. So after being knocked down, you can stand up with this skill and immediately cancel it with the roll to get to safety. However, it's often useful to delay the dodge slightly. The first hit lands quite fast, so if you wait a bit before cancelling, you can hit an enemy and grab a Bloodlust stack before escaping. It's especially useful if you just need one more stack for the blood buff. With the Bloodthirsty, remember that it has a rather long dash, so you can use it as an escape tool, especially if you pair it with the dodge. It's also super useful to gain some distance when you're out of stamina. Another thing to keep in mind is that it has a very narrow hitbox, so you will often need to adjust your aim, because your skills and basic attacks tend to reposition the target to the sides. It's also worth noting that if you have 4 Bloodlust stacks, and you landed your stab, you will get only 1 stack. I guess it's a bug. For a Monstrous Blade, try to use it at 5 stacks, especially if you are about to fight someone. It will provide you with the maximum lifesteal and you won't consume stacks, which could be useful in a few moments. However, the passive healing of the Monstrous Blade is capped at 8 stacks, so if you are escaping and you won't have a chance to lifesteal, it might be worth using it even later. And the last one, the Blood Oath. Obviously, is the best used when all your skills are on the cooldown. However, it's sometimes worth starting with this skill to obtain 2 stacks and make use of the bonus damage. It will be mainly endures when the opponents know what you are doing and he won't allow you to chain your skills anyways. Very important thing about Blood Oath is that you will not get the damage buff if you cancel the animation. You get the stacks and your cooldowns are reset instantly, but the buff appears near the end of animation. What is even more important is that using any other skill right after Blood Oath will also cancel the damage buff. I am quite sure that it's a bug, so it might not be an issue in the future. Make sure to check the comments section for the updates. Nodachi basic attacks consist of 4 strikes which differ in damage and speed. There are 2 important things about them. You have the highest DPS if you use only the first 2 strikes. It's due to the last 2 hits being much slower. The first swing of the basic attacks goes from left to right, so it's best to keep your target slightly to your left. It will allow you to land your hit faster and you will push your target in front of you. It's important because it means that you won't have to adjust your aim to land the knockdown. I would like to also mention the dismount attack. It has a very high damage and range and it knocks down enemies with a wide arc. Because of the long range and animation, it's actually hard to hit someone who anticipates it. However, after you jump off the horse, you can freely rotate your character even in the middle of the swing. So make sure to keep adjusting your aim and try to hit them in the back to avoid the block. The most important thing as Nodachi is managing your stacks. Without 5 stacks, your lifesteal is just too weak. Fortunately, with my build you can easily reach them. Keep in mind that you can get a few stacks before a fight by attacking gates, artillery or just using Blood Oath when there are no enemies in sight. Monstrous Blade and Blood buff consume your Bloodlust stacks, but when they are active you can keep stacking to further improve your healing. So, in order to get the highest lifesteal possible, you need to reach 5 stacks, activate Monstrous Blade and then get 4 more stacks. It results with just over 100% lifesteal. Realistically, you don't need that much healing, so don't hesitate to use your skills even if it means that you will lose some life drain. Okay, I described all the tools you have and now I will tell you how to use them. The most basic combo goes like this. Bloodthirsty, then roll behind the enemy, hit 2 basic attacks, Fearless and Steadfast, roll back, Blood Oath and Monstrous Blade, and repeat. Realistically, every player will have some CC recovery, so they won't allow you to land a full chain. But you can reset your cooldowns and start over. Most of the time they won't have a second recovery at hand. Because most of your combos revolve around knockdown, I prepared this reference to visualize what you can do before the enemy will be able to roll away. To avoid talking about fraction of seconds, I use action point instead. 18 action points are equal to 3 seconds, which is the duration of the knockdown. It's the time since the damage number pops up to when the enemy is able to roll away. Here you can see some combos which you can fit in the knockdown window. Note that you need to cancel your attacks with movement to quickly use the dismount attack. Because of that, the last combo is a bit too long, but you should still be able to land the second knockdown. You should also keep in mind that these assume ideal condition. So you have an enemy right in front of you and you cancel animation perfectly. Nevertheless, I believe that it should help you visualize what is possible and what is not. Execution comes down to practice. Okay, just a reminder, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you find this video useful. Thank you. I think I already covered the most important things, but I have few more tips and tricks I want to share. The good rule of thumb is to always land at least one basic attack before the skill. Skills cancel animation of regular attacks, so you can do it without wasting much time. It's very important to know how many CC recovery skills the enemy have and how they look. If you see that they wasted it, you can go in with a full damage combo. If you are not sure if they have it, then it's better to play safe. You don't want to let them catch you off guard when your own recovery is on the cooldown. If the fight is not going your way, then look for some units which you can attack to heal up. If your lifesteal is stacked up, then a few hits will give you thousands of HP. I will say it again, when you are low on HP, your first instinct should be finding some target to heal up and not retreating. Remember that in this game, having a high ground is a disadvantage. You will often miss enemies who are below you, especially if they are knocked down. Always use it to your advantage, especially on the stairs. If you are fighting multiple enemies, keep moving back until they naturally group up in front of you. You want to hit them all at once. If it's not possible, try to focus on light armor opponents and those who wasted their CC recovery. If you have to retreat from the wall, then roll down from it sideways. You will be able to mount up in the middle of the fall if you do that. When you are fighting dangerous units or multiple players, just land 2 basic attacks and dodge. It will protect you from being dazed all the time. You need a tanky horse to be able to safely engage or escape. Make sure to craft purple horse armor as soon as you can. I also wanted to say a few words about Nodachi in Territory Wars. Personally, I sometimes use it, but it all depends on your host strategy. As a rule of thumb, if there is going to be a heavy fight with a lot of reinforcements, then there is no point in playing Nodachi. If you have a limited number of players, then Nodachi is fine, especially on the walls. Okay, I think that would be it. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments or on my Discord. Link is in the description. If you are interested in Nodachi content, then make sure to subscribe. I have a lot of gameplays and highlights already. Thank you for watching and see you next time.